welcome to the discussion. Today we'll be discussing about the Freedom of Information Act. Will the countries please show their opening statements?
Please welcome the United States.
In 1966, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Freedom of Information Act, the US Code Title No. 5, into law. It then became effective in the following year. The Act was designed to clarify and to protect the public's right to information and to sought to balance the public's right to know with the sensitivity of governmental reports and private interests. However, President Lyndon Johnson opposes the law, stating the public concerns with this is with regards of national security, privacy, personal matters, investigatory reports, and reports on governmental deliberative processes. USA is actually one of the countries to adopt this Freedom of Information Act, and Malaysia could take this into account and consider whether they want to or they do not want to adopt this act. Thank you.
Please welcome China.
In China, we have a long tradition of government secrecies and is viewed by the outsiders as a closed, authoritarian and secretive state. However, a strange phenomenon occurred in our country. We uptake the Freedom of Information Act without having undergone a democratic transition, even though the information access is usually associated with the democratic values. We have implemented the Open Government Information Regulation in China since 2008, and every of our citizens enjoy the right to information through requests. There are four main reasons for us to have this regulation. We aim to increase the transparency of the government, govern the administrative so that they are in accordance with the law, protect the citizens' right to know, and make the government information routinely available. Thank you.
Please welcome the United Kingdom.
United Kingdom, being one of the 90 or more countries around the world that have some kind of right of information for their citizens, passed our own Freedom of Information Act in 2000, which implements the government manifesto of Labour Party in 1997 general election, which then only came into effect in 2005. However, this act is not applied in certain bodies of Scotland, as stated in Section 80 of Freedom of Information Act 2000. Similar to UK, Malaysia Pakatan Harapan government committed to implement Freedom of Information Act in line with its election manifesto, which is good for Malaysia to refer on my country on how it made it true.
Let's hear from our friend in India.
In India, we adopted a system similar to the US Freedom of Information Act in the form of the Rights to Information Act 2005. This act was first proposed in Parliament in May 2005 and was finally put into effect on October 2005. One way India's Right to Information Act differs from the United States Freedom of Information Act is that the US Act will only apply to national governments, while India's Act applies to both regional, state, and national governments. However, the similarity between both acts is that they both allow the public to access information from public authorities. Thank you.
Please welcome Australia.
Previously, Australian government had no obligation to release information to the public. However, there were a lot of requests made to have a look into the transparency of the Australian government. Therefore, Freedom of Information Act 1982 was enacted in Australia. This act allowed community to request access to the document held by Australian government. If they think that there is something wrong in the information, they can even ask for the government for amendment. This act was indeed a landmark in the Australian democracy.